So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Wolf, and I'm the programming director here at the Osterville Village Library. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to our friends joining us on Zoom, thank you for being here as well. The Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage are a group of ladies aged 65 to 85 and counting who swim in the freshwater ponds of Cape Cod collecting trash. And Cape Cod has plenty of those freshwater ponds. I believe your website states 996 ponds. Sadly, they appear to have plenty of trash occupying those beautiful waters as well. Thankfully, Susan Bauer and the Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage group have taken it upon themselves to dive in and tackle this project. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan Bauer to tell you all about it.
I'm 85, and as you can see, I'm the one with the cold too. I haven't had a cold since 2019. Darn. Anyway, I would like to start with the video, which gives you really an overview of what we do. And then we'll sort of break it down. There's how did it get started? What do the swimmers do? What do the kayakers do? And where we are going from here.
And Mary, you're going to go out first with Diane.
She is in charge. Dr. Susan Bauer, retired psychologist, writer, and avid pond swimmer. She's been swimming since her 50s, fascinated with turtles.
I'm known as the turtle lady of Cape Cod. I write books on turtles. Turtles love me. I love turtles.
What she doesn't love is other things she sees in ponds.
A lot of golf balls and beer cans. So about 5 years ago, I just grabbed 2 swimmers and a kayaker and said, come on, let's just clean up the pond.
From the start, Robin Malaplin and Diane Hammer were on board.
I feel like I'm involved in this for the animals and for the community, but I also want to support Susan in her project. She's such an incredible person.
The project was named after the first outing.
I said, well, we're a bunch of old ladies against underwater garbage. And it just stuck because that shows the kind of sense of humor we've got.
There is no joking, however, about the age requirement to suit up, 64 or older.
If a 60-year-old wanted to join, allowed or not?
No.
No. Susan is 82.
You're a kayaker, you get over there and here's the talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
The women operate in teams, swimmers and kayakers. Diane leads the paddlers who carry the haul. For the swimmers in the water for generally 90 minutes, it's strenuous.
The hooks and some broken glass sometimes and heavy things, it can be a little bit risky, but we wear gloves, we're very into safety.
When you start looking underneath the water, there's a lot of stuff down there.
That's why these women are in demand.
So it means wants us to be boosted tomorrow. We've done Dennis Marston's Mill.
We have a big pink bucket, as you can see, lots of cans, big hunks of metal. Cheers to these women.
We've got one of the cleanest ponds on the Cape, and yet look at that they can, they can haul this out in an hour's time.
The board members will come up to us and they'll say, this is such hard work. Oh, that's so disgusting. What we're thinking inside is, wow, this was. It's not something that I knew when I retired, I was going to become a pond garbage collector. That wasn't like on my list of things to do, really, ever, just ever, never. It's a real testament to being open to what life shows you.
Susan and company say doing this comes with so many sweet rewards.
I just love it, love it. Yeah. I'm 12 years old again.
Well, we also thank them for the work they're doing. That's incredible. I mean, you'd think that the ponds on places like Cape are clean, but evidently not clean enough.
They are. Susan's incredible. They're all incredible. We met at Jacob's Pond in Falmouth. It's a beautiful, clean pond, but still, you saw what was in there. They dive in June to October.
Oh,
They're
I'm just saying,
amazing.
I'm guessing they're not.
Any weather, any weather.
Any weather, it's great.
Yes.
We will go back to the slide. The arrows here.
Gotcha. And so that's going to be, okay. Yeah. I'm Susan Bauer. Now I'm 85 instead of 82, and still swimming. So we started this 5 years ago, really not knowing what we would do. I back into everything that I do, and that's just the way it comes out. So we started this with 3 people. COVID hit, nothing happened, and then 2020, some new people sort of came into town, and suddenly we were 5 people. And we cleaned the occasional pond. And then we decided that so many people were hearing about us because we were getting so much publicity that we would, hit the right arrow, we began getting a lot of people asking us about it. So we held tryouts, and this is us at the Drew Barrymore show. They all said, "Oh, don't make us up. We just like the natural look." I said, "Do everything you possibly can, you know." And this is probably our most famous find, and that appeared on the front page of the Boston Globe. So we got all these new people, and we thought, holy mackerel, what are we gonna do with them? I mean, we went literally from 5 active members to 21 in a single year, and that was, I think, 2023. So this is the story of how it started, and what we didn't understand, whether we were 5 people or 21 people, and now we're about 30 people, we didn't understand why so much publicity. And so we're going to get to that, because our group checks a lot of boxes. Yes, we're environmentalists, but as you'll see, we inspire, especially women of a certain age, to keep active. We promote adventure. We re-energize the pond communities that work with us and live around us. And we have a secret ingredient. So it started many, many years ago. There's the original 3. That is our mission. I hate people who read missions. There it is. You could read it. It's see beyond perceived limits to take concrete action. So we started as a young group, and we, I think I'm gonna, why didn't the turtle thing play? That's what I'm missing. There was one that was a video. Yeah, well, it's just not doing it, so we're not gonna worry about it. So what I'm gonna do now is actually turn it over to Marcy, and she's gonna tell you about what swimmers do. And then I'll tell you about what kayakers do. And we'll sort of bring it all together and answer the question that really intrigues me the most, which is not, what's the weirdest thing you ever found underwater? That is a good question. But the one that intrigues me the most is, how have you created a group that everybody who hears about it wants to join? Everybody who hears about it wants a piece of the action of some sort. I'll bake cookies. I'll take notes. I'll organize something. I really have come to the conclusion that women over 65 are the greatest underutilized resource in the United States. As Margaret Mead said, there is no power in the world like the zest of a postmenopausal woman. And we are here to harness that zest. So here we go with the swimming.
Hi, I'm Marcy Johnson, and I am one of the swimmer and divers at OLOG. I was lucky enough to join the group in 2023, so this will be my 3rd season. And it's what I look forward to all winter long.
She bribed her way in, actually. The first, I don't believe in getting any place early, but I got there on time, and it was the tryouts. And here's this woman who's been there, looks as if she camped overnight, and she opens the door, and she had the largest Tupperware thing of homemade cookies that I'd ever seen. I think I said to you, "Boy, you're a member. You're joining." And she's
I
like,
kept
"Yeah."
saying it's not a bribe, but it was.
It was.
It really was. So when how you become a swimmer with OLOG is you have to do a tryout. And you have to be able to swim 1/2 mile in under 30 minutes. but you also have to be able to swim at least a mile. Because and be comfortable in the water doing so.
Yeah.
Because once you get out there for a half hour, you have to come back. We want to make sure everybody comes back. So I tried out and luckily, not only the cookies got me in, but I could swim, so that was good. So when we go on the dive, there's a lot of organization. Did you have that sign up with
Here
the?
goes the net.
Yep. There's a lot of organization that goes into it. We scout all the ponds. So what that is 2 swimmers, 3 swimmers will go out and all they're doing is looking down and counting. If they see anything, it's a 1, a 2, a 3, and you count. And everything in a 10-minute period of time counts as 1 piece. And at the end, if we've counted 30 pieces in, say, 10 minutes, that's a good pond for us to go to clean up. There's enough there. Because what we see is just a fraction. What we see from the surface is just a fraction of what we're going to find when we have 10 or 15 people out there looking and a little longer period of time. So we know that that pond is good. If we only get 1 or 2, we said, well, we'll wait for another year for this one. This is clean.
It's a dud.
It's a dud. So before we do a dive, we scout it. And then we have a plan. And we have people sign up for each pond that they want to do the cleanup. And you'll have your figure out where parking is available. We work with the pond associations to get their permission. And also to help us with the logistics of where do we get in the water, any problems that we might find once we're in there. Do you know where the snapping turtles are? Things like that. So we are divided into groups. There's usually 1 kayaker and 2 or 3 swimmers in each group. And Susan will assign which direction you go. The stronger long distance swimmers, she can send all the way across the pond to start on the other side and work back to meet us halfway. And whoops, that's a good rainy day. We swim in any weather except for thunder and lightning. So it could be pouring rain. The swimmers don't care. The kayakers don't like it so much, but they still do it. That's a typical getting ready to go in.
Now with the garbage.
Yeah, there's some of the garbage coming. So as a swimmer, when we go out, I'll be with 1 kayaker and probably I'm on one side of the kayaker and the other swimmer will be on the other side. And we're just floating, we're swimming, but we're floating face down. We use mask and snorkel. We do not use fins because fins will immediately stir up the bottom. If you dive down, you see something and you happen to just flick a fin, you get a big cloud of muck and you won't find anything for 20 feet.
Yeah.
So we do wear water shoes quite often because we never know what's down there, broken glass and fish hooks and things. So we do try to protect ourselves. We wear gloves. I like it, just the Agway garden gloves. They work great. They're very flexible and lightweight. That one's not a good example. She's not wearing gloves.
No, it is. It's terrible. You don't know where she about it. Oh my
But
gosh, let's quick get the gloves.
yes.
Oh.
So as we go out, we're swimming along, we're face down with our mask and snorkel, and we're looking for pieces of something that doesn't look normal, that doesn't look natural, something perfectly round, something long and skinny, something bright blue or pink. You wouldn't find these things in nature, so you know that probably needs to come out. So once you see something like that, you take a big deep breath and down you go. And you get down, and sometimes when you're down there, you'll see other things.
Yeah.
When you're down there, you can get more than one, but you go for what you're after. If it's something big like this tire, sometimes takes 2 or 3 of us women to get one of those to the surface. They're pretty heavy. And not only are they heavy, once you get it up, you're treading water. So you're holding this big object, treading water and waiting for your kayaker to come close enough so that she can get it. So what we'll do is we'll hold it up and the kayaker will come along and almost spear it with the front of her kayak and into through the middle of it. And all the while she's balancing whatever she has already on the kayak. It's quite a process. But there's one going on right now.
Yeah, with no gloves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do wear gloves. And there's one slide that has a picture of a tire at the bottom that gets that stuff.
yeah. Actually,
Do you want me to do this section with kayakers?
yeah, yeah.
The kayakers are extremely important. We couldn't do it without them. They are important for our safety. They are our eyes because we're focused on the bottom. If they see something like a huge snapping turtle up ahead or a boat, anything like that, they're the ones that let us know. They have whistles and we have signals all worked out so that we know what they're, this is what it means. We don't hear really well under the water. We're pretty much, we're deaf under there. So deaf and blind, yeah. So she's looking, she lets us know if there's a problem. She has to be agile enough with a kayak. It's not easy. If any one of you have done kayaking, it's not easy to maneuver them as it looks. And she has to make sure that she can get close enough to us to grab the garbage without us tipping her over and without hitting us in the head. It's very important. Has happened a few times.
Yeah.
And I've come up underneath one a few times, not, I get a piece of garbage and I'm on my way up. I don't look up, I just come up. And sometimes she was a little closer than I thought.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, that's a great picture. She is watching her swimmers. We've got two different kayaks, so you've got at least 4 swimmers in that small area. And she's managing to get close enough, but not too close.
We use kayakers from the community also,
Yes.
because we want those people who live around the pond to handle, to see what's coming out. So typically, if we're doing, let's say, John's Pond, we will ask if we've got 10 swimmers, we'll ask for 5 kayaks, but only 2 kayakers. So we need our kayaker for communication and safety. And typically when a kayaker gives this part of the presentation, I am always amazed by how seriously they take their job, not just as garbage collectors, but they are keeping their swimmers safe. It's a very nice feeling. I had no idea that was going on, but in the center is Paula, one of our terrific kayakers. Alas is moving away, but the kayak in front would be somebody from the community. And we make sure that they have gloves. More and more, we make sure that they have a knife if someone sees some monofilament fishing line. They have a whistle. Every whistle has a tag on it that says, here are the 2 signals. All you need to know are these 2 signals. So we always use a mixture of our kayakers and they're. Oh, the toilet.
Yeah. You should take that one.
Okay, so this is John's Pond and
Very appropriate.
we had done the. So we had scouted that and it was a nasty swim. It was a nasty swim for scouting. It was a nasty swim there. So we had been in touch with Stan Grossfeld, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer from the Boston Globe. And I said, Stan, are you coming to this July 29? Well, he didn't know. Maybe Kamala Harris is coming to Boston, maybe this. Then we found the toilet. I said, Stan, we got a toilet. Oh, he says I'm locked in. Okay, I'll come. So it's raining, spitting rain. It's really quite windy. There's actually little white caps there. And Stan is a big boy. And we thought, my God, if we stick him in a kayak, we'll never get him out. Luckily, we had a pontoon boat. And so the pontoon boat is going to carry Stan around this pond and not run us over, but he's got a telephoto lens that is very, very huge. And we go out there and we could not find the toilet. It was nowhere. We had keyed it, it said it's right straight off a little gray shed. And we swam, the water clarity was horrible. I could be in 5 feet of water and I couldn't see the bottom. So how are we gonna find this toilet? Back and forth, back and forth. Finally, after a full hour, and we had swum well over a half a mile and had a half a mile back, one of the good swimmers came up to me and said, you have to call us off. We can't do this anymore. People are getting blue. We're in the danger zone. Call it off. I wept through my snorkel and called it off. But I hung behind. I couldn't help it. They went off, and then Marcy and I and 3 others finally started back, and we found the toilet. It was off the wrong shed, but when we passed the right shed, there it was, and it was down there. We didn't know it was blue. We thought it was white. You know, it was down there at 8 feet, and it was stuck in the mud. Oh, we were so happy to find it. The toilet, we found the toilet, and there it is. And then we discovered we couldn't move it. And we had a plan. We had a polypropane lasso. We were going to lasso the tank and then bring it up and hand it to a kayaker and get it, you know, this far off the bottom and then kick it to shore. Couldn't get the lasso around the tank until Marcy went down with this grim look. It's good we have snorkels because we can't really say anything. She went down and suddenly the lasso was around the tank. And Robin got one last corner with her toe and I did a little something, cheered madly. And up came the line, gave it to the kayaker. It was one of our helpers. He pulled it up with 3 of us on the other side of his kayak so that he just wouldn't tip right over. And then when he had it about that far off the bottom, I said, kick, just kick. And we kicked the sucker into where we could stand up. And what's the next thing? Oh, and this is some other stuff that we found, but that's where we got the great picture. And so we're standing up, and Stan says, put it back down again, take it up again, put it back down again. And the 3rd time we got it up, and this giant full-size eel comes swimming out of the throat of the toilet and goes, meow. So, and that was the part of the look is joy, and part of the look is shock from the eel coming out. But, okay, you want to take over with the garbage?
Sure.
Good.
This is more or less what we see when we're looking for things. When I said, look for something that's not natural. There's one. There's another one, but actually, there's 3. How good are your eyes?
What
Do you see? You got a tire, obviously.
Can left. And bottom.
There. Again, over here, a little bit of odd shape, kind of shine. But way up there, there's something shiny too.
Yeah,
So you probably got 3 pieces in one right there.
we sometimes challenge ourselves. How many beer cans can you pick up in a single dive? And you go down, and so it's 1, and then there's 2, and then it's, oh shit, put it in your bathing suit, grab the 3rd one and come up or grab them in 2 hands. I've never gotten more than 3.
I haven't done my cans. I'm always juggling golf balls. Yeah. They're easier. Yeah.
Right. So one of the questions we often get asked is, what is the most common thing that you find? Bud Light. And then golf balls, but lures, all sorts of fishing stuff, and some ponds, that's all you get.
Those wiggly things.
Yeah, the plastic
Blue rubber eely worm things
Right.
that they use for fishing. There are hundreds of them in every single pond.
Yeah, there really are. And they
They break into pieces and then you find smaller and smaller pieces. So I like getting those out.
Yeah. Golf balls, unidentified submerged objects, stuff, pink stuff, green stuff. But you can see from these tires, and these are obviously all in one pond, that they rot. You know, they don't just sit there and you think, well, maybe that's good for some fish to use as its home. It really isn't, because it rots. That's a big haul. That was Long Pond in Harwich. Boosters the other side. We almost always find, you know, eel, a snake, a snapping turtle, sometimes a huge fish with a hook in its mouth. And you can look through these things and find action figures. Leopard otter, always a pair of goggles. So there's actually 890 freshwater ponds on Cape Cod, but there are only about 150 great ponds, which are ponds over 10 acres. And we don't tend to do ponds that are smaller than that. Also in Massachusetts, they have to have a public access so that we can get to them. And we are cleaning more and more ponds, but I think 20 ponds a season is our limit. These are a few of the ones we've done. This slide is from last year, not this year. But you can see it's all over. My voice is tired.
Okay, right.
I actually just do cookies.
Cookies. We don't charge a fee for cleaning up a pond. But we do request cookies and hot drink when we get out of the water, preferably coffee and cookies, cocoa and cookies. And as Susan would say, not a package of Oreos. We want the homemade stuff.
Right.
And one of the ladies at Jenkins Pond actually made cookies in the shape of her pond, which I thought was really neat. And I think it's gotten out there that that's what we really like are the cookies. And it's almost like a competition now. It's fun for us to go because it's going to be good when we come out of the water and you've just exercised. You can eat all you want. And
These are Brewster buns, they are phenomenal.
but I think people know, and now they're competing to make the best cookies.
People come up to us, when we were scouting Bucks Pond and John Joseph Pond, some random guy comes down with a white bag with writing on it and said, "Are you the old ladies?" And I said, "Yes, my wife made these." And they're just, when I grow up, when I get to 65, I'm going to join you.
She's bribing you already.
Right.
And we will be working on a cookie cookbook at one point. It's in the back of our
Right.
minds for a slow winter.
Yes. Ha ha ha.
And one of the things that we think is so important is getting the communities that live around the pond to realize what we do. And as a result of that, we're finding that they're keeping their ponds cleaner and we don't have to go back as often. So it's very important.
There we are. I think it's time for questions. Yes,
Do you use a metal detector at all to find some of the metals?
I don't know of any that are underwater, but we have been offered a sonar device from Hui. They have to test it anyway. So I asked them, but can you use it in really shallow water? And they weren't sure about that. So mainly it's our eyes. And what we found is that we're going to stand off Cape Martha's Vineyard, Plymouth. We will scout a pond in Plymouth, and this happens again and again. And we'll say, okay, there's the blue laundry detergent bottle, there's the golf ball, there's the this. Not much, but okay, we'll do it. We'll come back the following spring, the following year, never find the blue thing. We'll never find those golf balls, but holy mackerel, we'll find a whole bunch. So we've taken one pond, Jenkins Pond, and we're doing it every single year to see whether things shift on the bottom, whether our eyes get better. We're going to use a couple of headlamps to see, does a person with a headlamp find more trash than not? It started so innocently and simply as three people just going down and getting trash. And now we've gotten really quite clever. And we have women in 5 states and 2 countries, Belgium and Sweden, who are saying, we're ready to start a chapter, what can you do? And then it's like, what about liability? What about the name, so we've trademarked our name. And luckily, we've got a couple of lawyers that are willing to work pro bono to see how we can do this and protect ourselves. We weren't even incorporated. In fact, we aren't incorporated, but we will be by the 15th of this month. So huge amounts of growing. And a waiting list, not only around the country, but a waiting list on Cape Cod of 42 people, 42 women. You know, when can I join you? So there's this huge pool of really active, really go-getter women. Especially in their late 60s and maybe up to about 73. I don't usually get somebody my age coming up and saying, hey, I'd like to join you. But we've got 5 or 6 in their 70s. And they're ready to go. More questions?
So other than cookies, do you get any other funding of any kind?
We have a pond guide that I actually wrote and illustrated. We have magnets and stickers, and we probably are going to get a t-shirt. Nobody gets these t-shirts except us. You work for these t-shirts and the hats. Those are one. Nobody gets them. You pass the tryouts, you still don't get a hat. You have to complete a dive successfully, and then you can get the hat. But we're gonna get a shirt that says old men love old ladies against underwater. Because they seem to, yes.
What happens to the garbage after you dredge it up? Where does it?
If the town we're working in has municipal garbage collection, then we bag it up. We always spread it out. We now have a huge orange tarp. We spread it out. We sort of analyze it. Is there anything in here that we keep seeing that we could go to the town and be political and try and get reduced, like styrofoam or something like that? Then we bag it up and take it to the road and it gets picked up. If there's no garbage collection, we have our very own garbage collector. They volunteered. It's a private company called Garbage Gone, and they will come, and then we reduce plastic bags by wheeling bins down, putting stuff in, and then putting it directly in their truck. And they say they take it, they dispose of it responsibly. I don't know what that means, because there's no such thing as away. You know, you throw something away, there isn't any place called away.
How deep do the swimmers have to go to find the garbage?
I only go to about 8 feet to find the garbage. She, however, there are those who really like deep. What would you say, 10 feet?
10,
11, yeah,
10, 11.
yeah.
Sometimes it's something really good. I make it.
All right, we have been offered a course, which we just don't have time to do this year, but there is a guy in Fairhaven who says, I teach free diving, and I will get you all going to 17 feet. There's a dive pool in UMass Dartmouth, and he uses that, and he says, I'll teach you to clear, I'll teach you to relax, I'll teach you to do that. We'll see. But I'm sure we can go to 12 feet, and that means that you know, there's a myth, every pond. There's a washing machine full of eels, there's a Jeep, there's a car, and there are. But what else?
Plane.
Oh, yeah, there's a plane wing, and so, but, we don't get those. But we have a husband-wife team of scuba divers, and they will, if we find something, we found a canoe in Jenkins Pond, we found an 18-foot boat with a huge hole in it. And if the residents want that out, we will say, you know, do you want that old dock out? If it's styrofoam, if it's pressure treated lumber, it comes out. But if it's something that's inert, I found a fire pit once. And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get the fire pit out. And as I swam over, this 4 or 5 inch guy, male catfish, came boiling out and confronted me and said, you know, you're gonna have to take me out before you can get to my wife and children who are in the fire pit. And I said, you just stay right where you are. That is fine. So that fire pit is still there, still having families of catfish. They're wonderful. We always see stuff like that. I think that leads us, that's a good lead in to what our great product is. It's not just staying fit, it's not just having a purpose, it's not just improving water quality or re-energizing communities. It is the joy that we find. I'm a retired psychologist, and I know something about what really moves people. And one of the things that really moves people is wonder. And if you can get a person in the flow, in the zone, where they're out of their own heads, there is no concerns, no assumptions, no junk that they are laying on what they are seeing. And they become part of the natural world, even for a few minutes. They emerge so re-energized, so rejuvenated, and everybody who watches us says, why are you so happy? What are you smoking? And we want it. And that's what we've got. We have found a way. It's really like a kind of triple healing. We have found a way to help the environment and help the community, our group as well as the wider community, and help ourselves. Every one of them is win, win, win when we clean a pond. Other questions?
I've already asked one, but
Oh, go for another.
I was wondering if after the person who dumped the blue toilet saw all the major news coverage, did they come and say, that's mine?
No, but someone wanted to buy it. Went on Instagram, had 1 million hits on Instagram, and didn't we get an email or a text or something that said, oh, I want that for my collection.
The toilet collection.
We're guessing that it was broken. A person bought the house, found it in this shed, it was a broken toilet, waited till it froze. Again, pushed it out on the ice and then let it go down. We get a lot of stuff that is from ice fishing.
How do you determine in a season which ponds you're gonna be focusing on and cleaning?
Rather haphazardly, we will start scouting now what we'll do next year. So do we have easy access? Have we done it before? Yeah, we've gotten so good at scouting ponds that we take a look at them. And even if Marcy says, I scouted this part of Moore Pocket, or I scouted this part of Long Pond, and there's nothing. If you see a summer camp, if you see an RV park, if you see a bunch of short-term summer rentals, you got trash. And we have learned that seeing it when we scout is not the only way to find it. I love trash.
And I think it's important to know, it's not because people necessarily throw these things in the ponds. There's a lot of stuff that's blown off of docks
Docks and
or
other,
fallen
yeah.
off of boats. I mean, the number of sunglasses and snorkels and things that we find, you know, it was just lost.
And then there are the bikini bottoms
Yeah, that.
blown off.
Just about. Do towns approach you to help with cleanup or not so much?
That's whom?
Towns.
Any of the towns?
It's usually the other way around. So I would approach South Yarmouth, for example, and say, so I go online, I look at the pond, and there's so-and-so pond association. Great, that's where I'm gonna start. But if there isn't any, I go to Bourne, I go to South Yarmouth, and I say, do you have pond association? Yarmouth has no pond associations. What's wrong with Yarmouth? I don't know, but it has no pond associations. So then we'll ask them, will you help us? Or we'll get a private, like again, this,
The conservation groups often help.
like Michael Latch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a private, and they will help. I mean, we gotta get cookies somehow. It's really crummy if you have to bring your own cookies. That's like, really. Right. Thank you very much for coming, and there really are cookies in the other room left over from someplace else. Please